we could ask ourselves, what is yoga and what brings us to our mat? And if you ask yourself that, what is your answer? Like, what is it that comes into your mind? For me, it was always a place that I can just come to and feel safe. And not understanding it at the time, but it it got me to a point of really understanding what my true essence of who Carmel was, and allowed me to move into a place in my heart that at the time I really didn't understand, but it brought me a sense of calm and ease that I did not know before this. I came closer to an understanding of what it meant to move into a deep spiritual longing, because I was very confused at the time of where I was in my life, because I was in my early 30s, and I'd gone through, stuff we go through back then in our lives, and I was confused. And the whole idea of what I believed in, I really didn't know. I didn't even know if I believed in myself. But that's what yoga did to me. It made me begin to recognize myself and to be clear about what it is that I desired and wanted in life, and what it is that I did not want, what I wanted freedom from. And it's really not different from what anybody would want out of life. You want happiness, you want love, you want your health, you want to be in a space of peace surrounded by happiness and well-being, and just an inner knowing of who you were. And I think that was probably the thing that I did not know how to do. But yoga did it for me. Years and years of doing practice, I came to know who I was. Like anybody else, I wanted freedom from suffering, freedom from hatred and war and heartbreak and pain. I I just didn't understand why I had to even be around that type of energy. But what yoga did for me was to understand that this was around, and it wasn't it happening, it was my reaction to what was happening. Whether good or bad, what my reaction to a situation is what allowed me to find that inner peace. So that's what a yoga path has done for me. And I think it's just something that we can contemplate about and think about, because I'm sure it's different for some and the same for others. So let's widen our sitting bones apart and hug into our midline, create this energy that is very connected to our midline, to our heart. Feel the energy of our lower belly lifting so our core feels strong. And feel as if someone was pulling a string right at the crown of your head, which was just giving space to all your vertebrae. Let's bring our hands in front of our hearts. And together, let's do the sound of Om, the invocation, and the sound of Om. Take a deep inhale. Om. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Sachitananda Murtaye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Om. Bow your head to your heart to honor your spirit. On your inhale, lift your head up. Exhale, release your hands to the side. And let's just stay in our seat for a moment. I'm just going to move back. So in our seat, let's sit tall. And we're just going to just do little hip circles. So you could go to the right and then go to the left. We're just gently waking up and bringing some energy into that space. And then let's just come to the other side. Let's change the cross of our legs. Get the extra skin. Just place your fingertips in front of you and lift up. Feel your shoulder blades on your back, engage your core. And you're just going to fold gently forward from your hip points. Now make your feet active. So that means you want to press out of the four corners. You can support yourself with your fingertips and hands. And just bow. Now root, press your hands into the earth to get your hips back, and then go a little deeper. When you've reached your core, your edge, just bow your head to your floor. Keep rooting the sitting bones down to the earth. And then inhale your heart up and gently come back. And we're just slowly opening the body. Let's change our legs again. That fold gets super long. Connect to your core. Bring your fingertips in front. So we want to have that integrity of the upper body. We want to have the openness of the heart, the shoulders rolling back, the belly lifting, and the front ribs back. Take a few deep inhales and a few deep exhales, and then slowly, using your finger pads or metacarpals, just support yourself as you release forward with your heart, root back into your hip. So you come forward and then root back. You come forward and then root back. So that you're constantly connected to the earth, and you want to try to find a really long torso. So a lot of difference between your hip and your underarm, right where your shoulder is. And you just come down as deep as you can go. Good. And then inhale the heart forward and then gently, slowly come up. Let's take our hand to the outside of our right knee. Get long. We're just going to stretch out the whole left side of our torso. So try to keep your shoulders stacked. Bring your fingertips forward, plug in, and then lift up. Now, if you have the freedom to bring your elbow down, that's good, but make sure your hip stays down. Or you could use a block like this. Okay, so it's fingertips, block, or floor. The shoulders are stacked, fingertips to the sky. And then feel the length from your hip to your fingertips. And keep rooting down into the left hip as you look up with your heart. Now take the whole right side of the torso to the left. So you're really revealing that space, those desires that we hold, that we are asking for in life, which is totally fine to do. And then root and come up. Let's change our hold again. And second side it. Fingertips forward and up. One side could be totally different feeling than the other. Keep rooting into the earth and breathing. Good. Inhale and come up. Let's bring both legs out in front of us. Fingertips in front, lift up. And now both sides of the torso are getting long. And we want to make sure our feet are super active as we elongate. Full deep inhale and exhale, active feet, active hands, really getting long. And then exhale, let's just bring our hands into a goalpost and plug your elbows into the back of your heart. Just so that we can really feel the energy moving through our bodies. And we want to feel every part of our body waking up, because even though we're focusing on our hips today, we certainly want the upper body to be a part of this practice. And then exhale and slowly release your hands down. Good. Let's bend our right knee and bring our left leg out. So we're going to root down into our sitting bones. Press our fingertips down. You can get that extra skin away if you feel like it's in your way. And we're just going to turn our torso to our left foot first. And here we have to really pin that outer left hip down. We're going to press into the fingertips, roll the shoulders back, and slowly come forward over our left leg. Get super long in the torso. Now you could take the heel of your left foot and scrape it back, but you're pressing out of the metatarsal, but the heel is hugging in. That may give you a little more leadway to turn over the foot and leg. Plug into the back of the heart. If you want, you could take your right hand to the outside of the shin and really hug that shin into the midline. And you want to be with your breath, and every breath will get you deeper into the pose. So we're not rushing into it, we're just breathing into it. And we're allowing the body to be where it is. And then allow it to know that if it needs to move or forward or back, then that opportunity is given to them, given to that part of the body. When you reach your edge, just bow your head to your heart. Feel the stretch on the right side of the body. The outer left hip is rooted. And then lift up your head to come up. So your head is the first thing that's going to lift. And then we're going to take our right hand behind us, take our left hand to the outside of the thigh and twist. So get those shoulder blades back and your heart open. Good. Come back to center. Full deep breath. Good. And let's change sides. So I just go back to my hips, working my foot side body long, and I'm going to turn my torso over to my extended leg, which is my right one. Shoulders up and back. Press out of the ball of the big toe. And you really want to, once again, just really, as you come forward with your heart, try hugging the heel back into the hip. See how that feels. And then the shoulders roll back. And you're with your breath. You want to feel both sides of the torso coming forward evenly. You want your shoulders to roll back. You want to hug into the body with that right heel. And then if you want, you could take your hand on that shin and hug it in. Now remember how important the marriage is of the breath with the body. Everything is working together. And we want our muscles to be flexible, but we want them to be strong, flexible muscles, not just flexible muscles. That's why it's going to be really important to just maintain that connection to the midline. So it's a core to periphery, periphery to core energy that's moving through the body the whole time. And we'll feel more of a stretch here when on our left side, maybe. That's how I feel it. Feet are very active. And then inhale and lift your heart and then come up, wherever that is. And then we're going to twist over to the left. And you're just left hand behind you, right hand. Stack your shoulders so the shoulders rolling back, but your torso is moving all the way to the left. Full deep inhale, full deep exhale. Good. And let's come back to center and bring both legs out in front of us again. Get the extra skin moving. Work your feet and lift up. So we just want to get super long in our torso. And then exhale, release. So we're going to come into a Malasana. And in Malasana, you can have your feet wide. You can even use a blanket, right? So if you have a blanket, you can place your heels on the blanket, like so. And that will make it easier for your feet to be together. So when my heels are on a blanket, I could almost touch my feet. So it's very interesting. Bodies are very interesting. After many years of practice, I realized that anatomically, I just can't do certain things. And one of them is putting my feet together in this pose. I don't care how long I've been doing yoga, it's just not happening. So here, what I do want to do though is scoot my tailbone. And when I put my hands in Namaste here, I want to really broaden my knees apart. So as I'm hugging in with my hands, I'm broadening my knees apart. And now you want to just feel the fascia of the back of your body just sinking down, tailbone moving towards the pubic bone, and the lower belly lifting. And then place your hands down onto your mat, and let's come into a downward facing dog. Really stretch it out. If you have that blanket there, just move it to the side. And let's just do a little catwalk. Full deep inhale and a full deep exhale. And bring your right foot forward and release your back knee down. So you're squeezing into the midline and the energy of the heel and the knee hugging towards one another. And that's going to bring this left hip forward so the right hip can stretch back. And then if you want blocks, we're going to bring both hands to the inside. You can put both blocks here. And we're just going to come down and breathe, of course. Hug those heel and knee together and bow your head to your heart. Full deep inhale, full deep exhale. And here, just being in the pose, just allowing yourself to be. There's no expectation here, but to try to breathe, keep the breath steady, and stay rooted so you could rise. So keep, when I hug the knee and the heel together, the outer right hip stretches back, the left hip comes forward. And then I bow my head to my heart, always honoring that place where I do hold all my desires. All that place is of where I just want to be happy. I just want to be filled with a sense of peace. I want to be delighted each day, to appreciate all the beauty that is surrounding this earth. And then lift your back knee up and really stretch out of that back heel. Full deep breath. And then release the knee down. And let's come back to down dog. And once again, just do a little catwalk. As you root into your finger pads and metacarpals, lift the inner upper arm up, and then that will help you surrender that heart space and then bow your head to it. And it's just nice to just feel the difference between the two sides we just worked on. And then look to the top and bring your left foot forward. And we'll bring our right knee down and we'll hug in. And we'll bring both hands to the inside. So just keep hugging into the midline, the heel and the knee, and then exhale and release. Once again, you're still connecting to that greater part of yourself. So you're still very whole here. And as I bring energy into the body, it allows many parts of my body to expand. Just feel the energy of the flow, the currents of grace moving through your body. And then bow your head to your heart. Keep hugging into the midline. And then lift your back knee up and press out of that heel. Full deep inhale and exhale. And then release the knee down. And let's come back to a down dog. Just do a little catwalk again. Just walk your feet and hands together and bow in Uttanasana. And let's come wide on our mat. And hug the heels and bow our heads to our hearts. So this is Pasarita Padottanasana. So the inner thighs are going back, then big scoop of the tailbone so you can feel your lower belly. And we're just releasing, we're just totally surrendering our head. So we're not holding on to anything on our neck. It's totally free range. release the head. Hug the heels in. Soften and surrender the back of your heart. And now if you can hold your ankles, you could grab your ankles. If you want, let's try this. Let's hug the heels in and bring our hands behind our backs and clasp, and then bring our hands over our heads. Good, and then come back, touching your fingertips back on the earth. Come into a table position with your back. And let's just turn to our right foot. Hug in, and let's bring elbow to knee, hand to hip for that variation of Parsvakonasana. So root down, scoop your tailbone, stack your shoulder, bicep to ear. Full deep breath. So it's really nice when you can feel yourself bathing in the pose, like you're rooting and rising, and the body is just pulsating. And it's almost as if you're just bathing, you're just soft in the pose. And then come back out, and let's go to the other side. Left foot forward, right foot back. Elbow to knee, hand to hip. And here you go. You just want to really lengthen. Full deep breath. Open your heart. Good. And come back. Down dog. Get your hips way back. Let's bring our right knee to our right wrist for Ekapada. So I always like the idea that I can walk my left foot back a little bit. Keep squeezing the two knees together. Now scoop your tailbone and see if you can really engage your lower belly. Now the more I hug my knees in, the more I'm going to feel my right hip. And so I want to come in down to the earth as much as I can. I could put blocks here if I need to. And once again, I just want to just feel the pose. I just want to allow myself to be in the pose fully. So let's keep hugging the knees in towards the midline. And feel, what is the action that is happening in my body? Where is the expansion happening after I've hugged in? Try to keep both feet active. Try to keep your back shin hugging in, your heel hugging in. When you are completely engaged, bow your head to your heart. And you're not on vacation here. You're still very much in the pose. Good, and then inhale, look up, come back, and let's go back to down dog. Second side. So walk your right foot back as much as you can. Hug in, feel the hips. Feel every part of your body engaged. And then you're going to lengthen forward. Hugging in. Keep hugging into your midline. And when you are ready to fully surrender, we bow our head to our heart, staying connected to that greater part of ourselves, holding on to what is important to us. And come back, down dog. Good little catwalk. Our hips should be feeling pretty even at this point. And let's bring our right foot forward and our back knee down. So let's try to stretch that quadricep now. So first, let's just hug in. You can see I'm just doing a little movement as I hug the knees in. The left hip comes forward. Right hip goes back. And then come up and just hug into the midline. Now you could take a block here and put it under your left hand. Because here what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift my left foot up and turn over. I'm turning to the right to grab my left foot. And I'm going to come back to bring that heel into the hip. Get long and then stack my shoulders. So work your foot, keep hugging the knee and the heel together. You should be feeling this in your quadricep. If you're not, come down. We could get that quadricep to feel. We want to bring feeling into it. Oh yeah. Keep squeezing the heel and knee together. Good. Exhale and release. You said hi to that quadricep, so let's change sides and say hi to the right quadricep. Again, squeeze. Let's just do a little movement first in the hip. And then come up. Once again, this hand can be on a block. You're going to hug in. You're going to really try to release this left hip down. And then you're turning to the left to stack your shoulders and pick your right foot up. I like to bring that hip back to the foot, kind of feel what's happening, and then open it up. Just really open it up. Full deep breath. If I want to feel it more, I come down on my elbow. Always very aware of what's going on. Never moving quickly, never grasping. Just always trying to be in a place of acceptance and love. Good. And then very slowly come back to downward facing dog. So we're feeling our quads a little bit now. We should be feeling a little bit of the back of the body, our hips. Let's come into Ekapada again. Right side first. And again, so we hug those knees together. And this time, let's turn to our right knee, and we're kind of framing it. So we're framing that right knee. I'm going to hug in, engage my core. I've just walked my left foot back. I feel like it just helps me. And then I'm going to fold to that knee. But I want to make sure I'm very active by hugging my knees in. And then making sure my back shin is hugging in. And making sure my back heel is hugging in. Keep hugging, hugging, hugging. And now the next thing I'm going to do is just press down into my right hand and try to now twist. Doing a little twist here, stacking my shoulders. And I place my right hand on my sacrum. Oh, get that left torso all the way to the right. Want to make sure your shoulders are stacked. Oh, yeah, that feels good. And come back to center. Let's change sides. Good, left knee out. Again. We're going to turn. We're going to frame our left knee and fold. And keep hugging into the midline, of course. Just allowing the body to feel itself with each movement. Breathing into the hip. Deep inhales and exhales. And once we're here, we're just being here. There's nothing else to do but be very active participant in the pose. And now take your left hand and bring it behind you a little bit. Plug in. Stack your shoulders. I like to place my hand right here to twist. Oh boy. Ah. Stack your shoulders. Oh yeah, that's it. All right, down dog. Stretch that out. It's kind of like dancing with your breath. And let's do our third Ekapada. Will be our last so far today. I just love Ekapadas for hip openers. So now we have our right foot. So I'm going to bring my right elbow to the inside of that sole of the foot or in front of the toes. So if you can, you could also bring your foot up a little bit, but you still have to get this left hip to come down towards it. Okay? Hands in Namaste. And stack your shoulders again. Hug your knee and heel together this time. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. And let's just come down and fold over that foot. And then come up. Down dog. Second side. left knee up behind left wrist, hug into the midline. Breathe, get this hip as far released as you can. You can see I'm just trying to release it. Then I'm going to take my left elbow either to the inside or to the front of the toes. Stack my shoulders, hug those heels in and those knees in, and twist. Feel that hip. Beautiful. And come back, and let's just fold over that foot. Fold over your left foot. You can kiss your feet in gratitude that that's over. And then come back to center. And let's just take both legs and stretch them out in front of us. Hoo-ha! Get those hips wide. Oh, that feels good. Let's just stretch everything up and out of the body. Deep breath. Good. And exhale and release. Good. Taking a breath. Let's bend our left knee. Let's take that left knee into the hip as much as we can. So you kind of can hug it for a moment. And then just take your right hand to the outside, and we're just going to twist. So we're just going to twist over. Twist our belly over. You can take your elbow to the outside and stack your shoulders. Feet are active. Good. And then release. And we're just going to bring our both hands, we're going to frame our right leg, root to rise. So really root down into your sitting bones and then surrender. If you can grab your foot, you can grab your foot or just one side of the foot. If you can, we can bind it behind us. We could take our left arm behind us, take our right arm behind us, and fold here. Wow. Beautiful. And release. And bring the leg out. And just feel the body. And then bring your right knee in. And let's just twist over to the right. Bring your shoulder out there. And come back. And then come in to the inside of the shin. And you can fold, you could grab your foot, or you can bind. One side will always be different than another, so that's okay. And release. And bring both legs. Let's bring them as wide as our mats. And get that inner thigh and roll it back. And come tall. Let's bring our hands behind our back and just interlace them. So we're going to interlace them like this. Shoulders to your ears, roll your shoulders back. So my feet are super active. I want to really engage my inner thigh, and I'm going to stretch my arms back behind me as if someone was pulling me, and I'm going to fold from the hip. So my heart is being offered first, and then I'm going to bring my arms up as high as I can, and once I get to my edge, I bow my head to my heart. Root and rise. Good. And all we're going to do now is just change the interlace of our hands. So if your right thumb was on top, now your left thumb will be on top. Root down into your sitting bones, spread your toes, press your hands away from you, and fold again. Good. And come back to center. And let's bring our right knee over our left. And if you can, now you can bring your left knee under your right in Gomukhasana. So hug your heels in. So your left leg can be straight. Work your feet. Scoop your tailbone, shoulders back. So it's like you're hugging your heels in, and it's almost like your torso gets longer. It's like being squeezed out of your hips. And then place your fingertips in front. So once again, we're just going to lead with our heart. And your chest may sit on your thighs. Plug into the back of the heart with your fingertips and metacarpals. And then when you get to your edge, you bow. Full deep inhale and full deep exhale. And then heart lifts first, and we come up. We're going to twist to the right. Shoulders stacked. And come back to center. So let's just change sides. So if you have one leg straight, the other one, the opposite leg, or you just now left leg, left knee over right knee, and grab your extra skin. Hug into the midline. We just find our pose, and then boom, we get so long, and we're really tall in our torso, really rooted into our hips as we fold from our hips. So the torso is super long. Plug into the back of your heart as you fold, and when you get to your edge, you bow your head to your heart. And this is nice because if we do have that opportunity to rest our torso on our leg, that feels good. So breathe into your hips. And just feel the essence of the pulsation. The body speaks back to us. And then inhale, come up. And we're going to twist to the left. And come back to center. Good, and let's bring our legs out in front of us again. Get that extra skin. Move it to the side. work your feet, plug into the back of the heart, and get long. And here's this opportunity to really root and rise. And then exhale and release. So let's take our left shin and make it parallel to the top of the mat. And we'll take our right foot and plug it in. Now put a block here in front of the knee in case you need it for Agni Stambhasana. And we're just going to place the foot either on the block or on our thigh, right above the knee. And I just always moving skin. And then press out of the ball the big toe and get long. Shoulders up and back. Really heavy here. And we're going to fold. And I like to use my hands or my arms to press the metatarsal of the toe into it. But we always are allowing ourselves to be in the pose exactly where the body is taking us. We don't want to grasp for something or move into something too quickly. And then bring your heart forward and inhale and come up. Okay, let's do the other side. So the right ankle and knee are in line, and you'll take your left foot and bring the left foot either onto a block or onto your thigh. So remember, Agni Stambhasana is firelock pose. So it's our two shins are on are the logs for the fire, and then just widen my hips a little bit and be super tall here. And then rooting the top of those thighs down, I gently fold forward and bow. Use my hands and feet to plug in and to expand. Oh, one side talks a little bit more than the other. And come on up. Oh. All right, let's bring those legs out. So now we really have to pay attention to our bodies here, all right, because I'm going to take my right foot and I'm going to place it as high up on my thigh as possible. So if I get it up here, the most important thing is I don't want my knee up in the air. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hug in and then I'm going to widen and get my knee down. Now, if you can't do that, what you need to do is get a blanket or blocks underneath you. I don't want your knee to be just dangling in the air. Now, the other thing important, the foot is super active, okay? So this is Ardha Padmasana, which just means it's half lotus pose, right? So this heel, if you have it up here, is going right into your belly. So it's a nice belly massage. And so we're going to fold forward. Or maybe this is enough for you and you're just going to stay right here. So this is your call. Remember, you have to be totally connected to your body and what's going on. Full deep breath. And inhale and come up. And remember, one side can be very different than the other. So now we're going to try the other side. And you're going to try to get that hip back and then flaunt the foot. Get that foot really flaunted before you bring it over. And then remember, no knee is hanging. I got to dangle it and then bring it down. This foot being active, you don't want to feel any uncomfortable knee energy there. So if you do, please blanket on underneath. So on this side, I feel a little bit of a twin, so why take any chances? I'm going to use the blanket today. Hug in and hold. And inhale and come up. So a lot of this energy is a lot easier sometimes when we are laying on our back. So I'm going to show you what that feels, what that means. If I can. So I'm going to lay down on my back with my knees bent. I'm going to just take this foot and I'm going to bring it to the top of my thigh and then just bring this knee up and see how that feels. It's a lot easier, right? So just after you've done that one, this seems pretty elementary, as they say. Still doing a lot to your hip. And then let's try the other side. So work your foot and then bring your right knee in. So important, these feet to be active. Oh, yeah. One hip is totally talking to me more than the other today. Good. And release. Let's bring those knees into the body and do a little circle around the sacrum. Little circle around your sacrum. And then the opposite way. And then let's just bring both feet down and bring your right knee in and come to the inside of the knee and grab the little toe side of the foot. So here, when I do half happy baby, I want to make sure that my heel is pretty much above my knee and I'm perpendicular to the earth. And I want to try to get that knee to the earth. But when I do, my hip lifts. So I'm going to just try to keep my hip down, but just get the knee down as much as I can. Good. And second side it. So one side, see this hip rises, so I want to keep that hip down. But I want to try to work this football. The big toe wins the race. Heel is over knee. Perpendicular to the earth. Breathing into your hips. Beautiful. And release. And just bring your knees into your chest again. Let's bring the soles of our feet together and just hold our ankles for a moment. And Baddha Konasana, and we're on our back, so it's Supta Baddha Konasana. But now our feet are in the air. Because before we go into Supta Baddha Konasana, we're going to stretch our legs out and grab those inner thigh muscles. And work your feet. Now engage your core. Work your feet as you spread your legs out. Shoulders back. Natural curve is your back is not flat on the mat. The natural curve exists. Take a few more deep breaths, and then let's bring our feet back together. And on the floor for Supta Baddha Konasana. Full deep inhale and exhale. You could have your hands on the side of your hips, palms open, or you could have one hand on your solar plexus, one hand on your heart. This is totally up to you. You could put blocks under your knees, of course, if you need them to support yourself. And just take a few deep inhales and exhales. Shavasana. Deep Shavasana.